I'm so excited, and I hope you are too. And of course, if you're not, that's totally okay. I'm always here for you. I love you. Okay. For today's video, I will be going to be reading until you fall asleep. I've always loved these videos where people would literally read word for word from a book until I would fall asleep, or the video would end. I honestly think it's a great idea, so I will be reading until you all fall asleep, okay? And today's book is one of my favorite books of all time. I read it when I was a kid. This book is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. And this book has a lot of adventure, a lot of action, and a lot of fantasy, a lot of open world concept, which I really love. And don't get me started on the Lord of the Rings, because the Lord of the Rings is amazing. Maybe one day I'll read you guys the Silmarillion. That way I can bore you to sleep instead of just reading it. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna be reading. I don't know how long the book I'll read, but definitely I will be reading maybe a good chunk of it. But maybe I'll make this a video series of part 1, part 2 of reading the book until you fall asleep. But before we go into the video, do a quick fit check. What? I'm gonna cut that. Okay, here we go. Also, I love the cover. Look at Smog with all of his gold in the Lonely Mountain. And then we got on the front of the cover, we got Bilbo Baggins in the Shire. A big end. Love it. Alright. The illustrations are made by Alan Lee. But whatever. Okay, let's go. I'm just gonna take off the cover because it might make a lot of noise. Okay. Chapter 1, An Unexpected Party. In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit, not a nasty, dirty, wet hole filled with the ends of worms and an oozy smell, nor yet a dry, bare, sandy hole with nothing in it to sit down on or to eat. It was a hobbit hole, hobbit hole, and that means comfort. It had a perfectly round door, like a porthole, painted green with a shiny yellow brass knob in the exact middle. The door opened on to a tube-shaped hall like a tunnel, a very comfortable tunnel without smoke, with paneled walls and floors tiled and carpeted, provided with polished chairs and lots of bags for hats and coats. The Hobbit was very fond of visitors. The tunnel wound on and on, going fairly but not quite straight into the side of the hill. The hill, as all the people for many miles round called it, and many little round doors opened out of it, first on one side and then on another. No going upstairs for the Hobbit. Bedrooms, bathrooms, cellars, pantries, lots of these. windows, deep-set round windows, looking over his garden and meadows beyond, sloping down the river. The Hobbit was a very well-to-do Hobbit, and his name was Baggins. The Bagginses had lived in the neighborhood. Of the hill for time out of mind, and people considered them very respectable. Not only because most of them were rich, but also because they never had any adventures or did anything unexpected. You could tell what a Baggins would say on any question without the bother of asking him. This is a story of how a Baggins had an adventure and found himself doing and saying things altogether unexpected. He may have lost the neighbors his respect, but he gained, well, you will see whether he gained anything in the end. The mother of a particular Hobbit. Was it a Hobbit? I suppose Hobbits need some description nowadays, since they have become rare and shy of the big people, as they call us. They are, or were, a little people, about half our height and smaller than the bearded dwarves. Pause. Hobbits have no beards. There's little or no magic about them, except the ordinary everyday sort, which helps them to disappear quickly and quietly when large, stupid folk like you and me come blundering along, making a noise like elephants which they can hear a mile off. They are inclined to be fat in the stomach. They dress in bright colors, chiefly green and yellow. Wear no shoes because their feet grow natural leathery soles and thick, warm brown hair, like the stuff on their heads, which is usually curly. They have long, clever brown fingers, good-natured faces, and laugh deep, fruity laughs, especially after dinner, which they have twice a day when they can get it. Now you know enough to go on with. As I was saying, the mother of this Hobbit, of Bilbo Baggins, that is, was the famous Belladonna Duke, one of the three remarkable daughters of the old Duke, head of the Hobbits who lived across the water. The water. The small river that ran at the foot of the hill. It was often said in other families that long ago one of the Duke ancestors must have taken a fairy wife. That was of course absurd, but certainly there was still something not entirely Hobbit-like about them, and once in a while members of the Duke clan would go and have adventures. They discreetly disappeared, and the family hushed it up, but the fact remained that the Dukes were not as respectable as the Bagginses, though they were not undoubtedly richer. Not that Belladonna Duke ever had any adventures after she became Mrs. Bungo Baggins. Bungo, that was Bilbo's father, built the most luxurious Hobbit hall for her, most extraordinary fashion. He had not been down in that way under the hill for ages and ages, not since his friend, the old Duke, died, in fact, and the hobbits had almost forgotten what he even looked like. He had been away over the hill and across the water on business of his own since they were all small hobbit boys and hobbit girls. All that the unsuspecting Bilbo saw that morning was an old man with a staff. He had a tall pointed blue hat, a long grey cloak, a silver scarf over which his long white beard hung down below his waist, and immense black boots. "Good morning," said Bilbo, and he truly meant it. The sun was shining and the grass was very green, but Gandalf looked at him from under long bush eyebrows that stuck out further than the brim of his shady hat. "What do you mean?" he said. "Do you wish me a good morning, or mean that it is good morning whether I want it or not? Or that you feel good this morning, or that it is a morning to be good on?" "All of them at once, I suppose," said Bilbo. "And a very fine morning for a pipe of tobacco, out of doors, into the bargain. If you have a pipe about you, sit down and have a full of mine. There's no hurry, we have all the day before us." Then Bilbo sat down on a seat by his door, crossed his legs, and blew a beautiful great ring of smoke that sailed up into the air without breaking and floated away over the hill. "Very pretty," said Gandalf, "but I have no time to blow smoke rings this morning. I am looking for someone to share in an adventure that I am arranging, and it's very difficult to find anyone. I should think so in these parts. We are plain quiet folk and have no use for adventures. Nasty, disturbing, uncomfortable things make you late for dinner. I can't think what anybody sees in them," said our Mr. Baggins, and stuck one thumb behind his braces and blew another even bigger smoke ring. Then he took out his morning letters and began to read, pretending to take no more notice of the old man. He had decided that he was not quite a sort and wanted him to go away. But the old man did not move. He stood leaning on his stick and gazing at the hobbit without saying anything, till Bilbo got quite uncomfortable and even a little cross. "Good morning," he said at last. "We don't want any adventures here, thank you. You might try over the hill or across the water." By this he meant that the conversation was at an end. "What a lot of things you do use good morning for," said Gandalf. "Now you mean that you want to get rid of me and that it won't be good till I move off." "Not at all, not at all, my dear sir. Let me see, I don't think I know your name." Yes, my dear sir, and I do know your name, Mr. Bilbo Baggins. And you do know my name, though you don't remember that I belong to it. I'm Gandalf, and Gandalf means me. Do you think that I should have lived to be good morning by Belladonna Duke's son, as if I was selling buttons at the door? Gandalf. Good gracious me, not the wandering wizard that gave old Duke a pair of magic diamond studs that fastened himself and never came undone until ordered. Not the fellow who used to tell me such wonderful tales at parties about dragons and goblins and giants, and the rescue of the princesses and the unexpected luck of widows' sons. Not the man that used to make such particularly excellent fireworks. I remember those. also thought he was not very fond of flowers. Dear me, he went on, not the Gandalf who was responsible for so many quiet lads and lasses going off into blue for mad adventures. Anything from climbing trees to visiting elves or sailing in ships, sailing to other shores. Bless me, life used to be quite. Bless me, life used to be quite you used to upset things badly in these parts once upon a time. I beg your pardon, but I had no idea you were still in business. Where else should I be? Said the wizard. All the same, I am pleased to find you remember something about me. You seem to remember my fireworks kindly. At any rate, and that is not without hope. Indeed, for your old grandfather Duke's sake, and for the sake of poor Belladonna, I will give you what you asked for. I beg your pardon, sir. I didn't ask for anything. Yes, you have. Twice now. My pardon, I give it to you. In fact, I will go so far as to send you on this adventure. Very amusing for me, very good for you, and profitable too. Very likely, if you ever get over it. Sorry, I don't want any adventure, thank you. Not today. Good morning. But please come to tea, and anytime you like. Why not tomorrow? Come tomorrow. Goodbye. With that, the hobbit turned and scuttled inside his round green door, and shut it as quickly as he dared, not to seem rude. Wizards, after all, are wizards. What on earth did I ask him for tea for? He said to himself as he went to the pantry. He only just had breakfast, but he thought a cake or two and a drink of something would be good after his fright. Gandalf, in the meantime, was still standing outside the door and laughing long but quietly. After a while, he stepped up and, with a spike on his staff, scratched a queer sign on the hobbit's beautiful green front door. Then he strode away, just about the time when Bilbo was finishing a second cake and beginning to think that he had escaped adventures very well. The next day, he had almost forgotten about Gandalf. He did not remember things very well, unless he put them down on his engagement table, like this: Gandalf, Tea Wednesday. Yesterday, he had been too flustered to do anything of the kind. Just before tea time, there came a tremendous ring on the front doorbell, and then he remembered. He rushed and put on the kettle and put out another cup and saucer and an extra cake or two and ran to the door. I am very sorry to keep you waiting, he was going to say, when he saw that it was not Gandalf at all. It was a dwarf with a blue beard, tucked into a golden belt, and very bright eyes under his dark green hood. As soon as the doors opened, he pushed inside, just as if he had been expected. He hung his hooded cloak on the nearest peg, and side note, I always get these names wrong. I mispronounce them, so forgive me. He hung his hooded cloak on the nearest peg, and "Dwalin at your service," he said with a long bow. "Bilbo Baggin at yours," said the hobbit, too surprised to ask any questions for the moment. When the silence that followed had become uncomfortable, he added, "I am just about to take tea. Pray come and have some with me." A little stiff, perhaps, but he meant it kindly. And what would you do if an uninvited dwarf came and hung his things up in your hall without a word of explanation? They had not been at the table long. In fact, they as if he had been invited. I see that they have become too ravenous already, he said when he caught sight of Dwaylen's green hood hanging up. He hung his red one next to it and said, Balin, at your service. Or Balin. Excuse me. Balin, at your service, he said with his hand on his breast. Thank you, said Bilbo with a gasp. It was not the correct thing to say, but they had begun to arrive had flustered him badly. He liked visitors, but he liked to know them before they arrived, and he preferred to ask them himself. He had a horrible thought that the cakes might run short, and then he, as the host, he knew his duty and stuck to it. However painful, he might have to go without. Come along in and have some tea, he managed to say after taking a deep breath. A little beer would suit me better, if it's all the same to you, my good sir, said Balin with a white beard. But I don't mind some cake. Seed cake, if you have any. Lots, said Bilbo. Bilbo found himself answering to his own surprise, and he found himself scuttling off to the cellar to fill a pint of beer, and into the pantry to fetch 2 beautiful round seed cakes, which he had baked that afternoon for his after-supper morsel. When they got back to Balin and Dwalin, or Balin and Dwalin, were talking at the table like old friends. As a matter of fact, they were brothers. Bilbo plumped down the beer in the cake in front of them when loud came a ring at the bell again, and then another ring. Gandalf for certain this time, he thought. He thought as he puffed along the passage, but it was not. It was 2 more dwarves with both with blue hoods, silver belts, and yellow beards, and each of them carried a bag of tools and a spade. In they hopped as soon as the door began to open. Bilbo was hardly surprised at all. Sorry about that, my computer. What can I do for you, my dwarfs? He said. Keely at your service, said the one, and Feely added the other, and they both swept off the blue hoods and bowed. At yours and your families, replied Bilbo, remembering his manners this time. Dwalin and Balin here already, I see, said Keely. Let us join the throng. Thought Mr. Baggins. I don't like the sound of that. I really must sit down for a minute and collect my wits and have a drink. He had only just a sip in the corner while the 4 dwarves sat round the table and talked about mines and gold and troubles with the goblins and the depredations of dragons and lots of other things which he did not understand and did not want to, for they sounded much too adventurous. When ding-dong-a-ling-dang, ding-dong-a-ling-dang, ding-dong, 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 his bell rang again, as if some naughty little hobbit boy was trying to pull the handle off. Someone at the door, he said, blinking. Some 4, I should say, by the sound, said Feely. Besides, we saw them coming along behind us in the distance. The poor little hobbit sat down in the hall and put his head in his hands and wondered what had happened and what was going to happen and whether they would all stay for supper. Then the bell rang again louder than ever, and he had to run to the door. It was not 4 after all, but it was 5. Another dwarf had come along while he was wandering in the hall. He had hardly turned the knob before they were all inside, bowing and saying, at your service. One after another